What's funny is where did you watch the Latke video?
On Instagram.
Yeah, so like I did it for YouTube, and Adobe has a thing like Adobe's Firefly.com, online.
Yeah.
Just take the full video and drop it in, and it made that vertical video splitting us and putting us
Yeah.
with levels. It just did it. And
Oh,
I've done it.
Riverside. I can set Riverside to do vertical layout wise. The problem is that like YouTube is trying to take this framing that you and I are seeing and do that in one window for like regular viewers, and then it's also trying to simultaneously do a vertical framing, and that would be like fine if it was just me going live solo, because then it would just be like my face in the center, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's actually like well, I'm on, it was on this side, so you're seeing this, and then on your screen it was your microphone and
It's not
the
not picking the right portion of the screen.
no, that'd be hilarious to just do that to
Yeah.
viewers.
So I usually use Firefly just to create some quick social media clips. So I don't have to spend hours doing it.
Yeah.
And this time it did, like, the video was so short on YouTube. It was like a 5-minute video, whatever, or shorter. So I'm like, you know what? The 3 clips it made tells a whole story. I'm just putting them as the whole 3 thing. Like we didn't rate it with numbers or anything. So I'm just going to uh, take the 3 clips, pop them into Premiere, and just link them together as one long reel, and just pop an end on it and throw it on there. Shit, what band am I trying to think of? There you go.
Do you like the new look of the new layout look? The I made it the talking about the big stuff
It's our
colors.
branded colors. We're branded.
Yeah.
I love the
Well,
branding.
and I got a couple of other surprises for you once we get started. So I did a lot of work today. So
I may have a different background next week. I mean, same room, but I'm thinking of moving the shelves that are behind me to be actually in front of me right now, and putting a small desk there to put a TV on. There's a TV in our bedroom that I want to move out of our bedroom and maybe put here, just because I don't have a place to put it. And then take the TV that's in Madhavi's downstairs room and put that in our bedroom. And then take a TV that we took out of my mother-in-law's living room and stick it in Madhavi's room. So basically, size order, they all get dumped in. The smallest one comes into this room.
don't be a size queen.
I can't help it, baby. Have you seen that
Uh,
ad? Have you seen the ad for liquid water? Liquid
Maybe.
water is a whole new ad about, sometimes I don't want it big. I'm a size
Oh
queen,
yeah,
but
yeah, liquid death. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, liquid death. And then it's at the end, it's
I've never had a big one before. Yeah. Ricochet Rita's in the chat.
I like to watch my husband drink a big one while I sit in the corner and
I like
drink
no,
a
it's I
little one.
like him with a big one while I
With,
yeah.
with him and his friends going to town with the big ones while I'm in the corner drinking
Well, I just take a yeah.
the little one in my mouth. Yeah.
Alex says he likes the borders, but he's biased.
Breaking the law, breaking the law, breaking the law, breaking the
So
law.
today I picked up Logan from school, and one of the teachers that runs after school, or I don't know if she runs after school, but she's the person who I talk to whenever I get him out of after school. She was there, and I was like, hey, because we had been talking about I had found out she was reading the same book I just had book club on, and so I was like, oh yeah, I went to the book club, to I liked the book, I went to book club, and and she goes, and I said it was at a book, I said I've never been to a book club before, but it was at a bookstore that I go to sometimes, and I and she goes, oh yeah, what bookstore? And we started talking about bookstores. And then she goes, well, if you like bookstores, you should go down to this one in Fayetteville. And I was like, well, yeah, I said I do like bookstores, but I also like I said I go to bookstores because I wrote a book, and I'm going around trying to sell my self-published book. And she was like, what is it called? And she's cool, like I know her decently well, and I was like, okay. I was like, if you read it, just like, if you don't think other teachers can handle it, please don't mention it to them. Like, I'm like, I don't want to be known for as the bad dad who does this stuff. So that
It
was
reminds me of a former friend of mine who lived like 45 minutes from like this area, right? But
yeah.
worked at Glaxo. and this was a contractor at Glaxo, and he used to go to the Hooters by the airport all the time from Glaxo, and he ran into his child's kindergarten teacher who was waiting tables there, and thought she was far enough away from their town that nobody would ever find her there.
Yeah.
Like during the summer, she was waiting tables at Hooters.
Oh, Ricochet Rita said that she saw your speech at Mrs. Mookie's mom's memorial today.
Yeah.
How was that?
It was okay. It was for a memorial. You know, Mookie was ran it. Like his mom purpose said you wanted him to do it, not a stranger talking about her, and because he'd keep it upbeat and have some appropriate levity in there. But when I came and shared some memories, and one of them was that Ricochet Rita renamed Carolyn and her husband Jerry as Mr. and Mrs. Mookie's mom and dad, and that's what we always called them. You know, we'd say, "Hey, Mr. Mookie's dad," or "Mr. and Mrs. Mookie's dad." So that was part of my long ass speech about how she was like a mom to all of us, kind of thing. We all loved her, and we all are with you, and blah 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 blah.
Nice.
Hello, Alex.
Hey guys.
You okay? You sound a little okay, your voice sounded a little growly, like maybe you had a cold or something.
And your face is all blurry, like maybe you have a bad connection or something. I know, but that's been the way for the last month, so it's just the way
it's the way on the lives, but it comes out fine once it uploads fine. So
which is weird.
Yeah.
So it's streaming at a lower rate, but then the stream that catches up later is full res.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's how I feel when I pee now that I'm in my 40s. The stream has to catch up,
Ew. So that's all red and like vinegary?
Oh.
My man period.
Yeah, someone in our clinical trials for the enlarged prostate drug I worked on, who he said I have a complaint about the drug, and we heard this through one of the doctors running the trial. The doctor asked him, "What's the complaint?" He goes, "Well, when I used to go to the men's room, I used to have to worrying about the dribbling. I used to worry about peeing on my shoes at the urinal." He goes, "Now my stream is so strong, I'm worried about peeing on everybody else's shoes."
Did I tell you the story about when Logan? This is a good story, Alex. I'm sure
I was laughing at Matthew. Yeah, no. I was laughing at Matthew being like, "Now I'm worried about peeing on someone else's shoes."
Yeah,
that was just funny.
It's like we were like, "Too bad we can't use that in an ad." Are you afraid of peeing on your shoes in the urinal?
Pee on someone else's shoes. Why don't you?
So, what was I starting to say?
Logan did something. What?
I don't even know what you were starting to say. That sounded pretty fucked up. Logan,
your son.
When Logan was potty training, he was, he has his own room and he has his own bathroom. And it was like a Saturday morning, and he woke up. I woke up to the sound of what sounded like a fully adult man peeing. Like it was loud and strong stream. And I woke up and I went, "Sarah, there's somebody in the house. There's a man in the house
peeing in our bathroom."
And she was like, "What?"
I mean, there was a man in the house.
I was like, "Do you not hear that? That's a man peeing." And she goes, "That's Logan." I'm like, "No." And then Logan, it almost certainly did not flush, because he still doesn't flush every time. Almost never flushes.
Oh, buddy.
He flushes poop. He never flushes pee, which is whatever. If
was he raised
yellow,
during,
let it mellow.
Was he raised in COVID?
But no, was he raised during a water shortage? That was always like in those super hot times in the summer. If it's mellow, let it yell. If it's yellow, let it mellow. If it's brown,
flush it down.
Flush it down. I peed so many times it's starting to turn brown. I better flush it.
Yeah. So anyway, after the pee stopped, he wanders in, and this was years ago, and he was like, "Good morning," and I was like, "Was that you peeing?" And he goes, "Yeah." And I was like, "You sound like a fucking grown up. Like, holy shit!" Like it was like an intense sound. Still is, but like now I'm used to it.
He was so what you're saying is it was so intense. He was like hitting the porcelain with his stream.
Yeah, he frequently pees all over the back of the toilet because he overshoots.
Have kids, they said. It'll be so great, they said.
What's crazy is like
You need to
and
float
maybe
a
I don't.
Cheerio for aiming practice.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's true. I at this point, like whenever him and my nephews are over, I'm like, or they're all together, I'm like, I will just try to find a different bathroom to use
Just
than the
lay down
than
plastic like you're about to kill someone in the
Oh.
basement.
Yeah.
I sitting in someone else's pee, like not like if you like don't notice if you know if it's dim or whatever, and you sit down, you're like, why is it wet? Oh, it's like the worst.
Why does it taste more acrid than usual?
Oh my god, both of you.
Okay, mine is real problems. Matthews is.
I like that mine is real problems. That was funny.
I'm not saying that
a little
don't-
too acrid is not a problem. You should get used to that.
No, it's just not a. It's not a problem you've really lived through.
Yeah, you are in a fraternity.
True.
I was, but it was a culinary
Sometimes
school,
you're
so it was
hugging
very
the
different.
porcelain in the morning or in the evening, or making
Alex.
more beer.
Should
Yeah.
I do my color correction so that I can get it right?
I mean, yeah, why not? We're here, so
Yeah. I don't know if that will do anything on this camera, but we'll see.
Yeah.
I've been doing a bunch of test shit with my camera, like getting stuff ready. And it's been fun. And I'm just absolutely floored at like this is 10% of what my light can do. Maybe it's 12%, like this brightness.
yeah.
When I was shooting in front of the window is so bright that I turned the aperture way down to try to like make it so that wasn't out. And then I turned the light all the way up to 100 and it was not bright enough to light me properly. Like I was like, holy shit. Like, you know, like to off, it's not bright enough to offset with the shade down, you know, like, it's just
Oh,
crazy.
okay.
So instead I just have like blown out windows in the thing right now, but that's fine. All right. I like it looking like daylight even when it's dark already. We are on very early and
We are. So what
Yeah.
you're saying is there'll be lots of cuts for the Patreon members?
Yeah.
Oh, we talk about aiming in a toilet and Matthew dancing around with his fantastic Yankees World Series championship shirt. Very nice.
when did they win the World Series last? They didn't win this year, right?
No, this is an old
No.
shirt. This is 2009.
I was gonna say I don't even.
Nobody won
think-
this year. It's January, man. I
Let me
tried to wear a
think.
New York
Yankees
Knicks
World
shirt when I
Series
do the Brooklyn
was-
Brothers video since I knew I was filming with my mom.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yankees was 09, 2000, the year
2000
before
2000
that.
against the Mets, the Subway Series. I've got a
Yeah.
beautiful Franklin Mitt, 2 subway cars sitting in my
Oh, that's cool.
bedroom. That's like the 7 train that goes to Shea Stadium and the
Yeah,
6 train that goes to Yankee Stadium.
nice.
Nice.
So I'm gonna get our notes open because
anybody
you made
that
them,
might-
so
Yeah. For anybody that might be interested, tomorrow Alex and I will be going live, not on this channel, but on our Cinemen podcast, because tomorrow morning is the Oscar nominations. And we'll be live reacting to that. We're going to get on a little bit early, 8:00, so we can talk about
In the morning?
Mhm.
yeah, if you can believe that.
Well, I'll drop off Logan and I'll just come get set up, you know, because he's
Yeah.
going to be to school at 7:45. So
Yeah. We'll be here.
Yeah. I told Sarah and she was like, well, sometimes when I have an 8:00 call, I have a hard time making it back in time. And I was like, that's because you dilly-dally. I will, you know, if I drop him off at school on time, barring like an actual car accident, there should be no reason why I can't make it back here on time. Also, I'm just realizing that
you went really, really deep, barring abject.
If I don't run
failure of
someone over on
driving
the
and
way
another
home.
public safety, right?
Yeah. Also, sorry, I'm thinking I did a lot today. I did a lot.
Also,
I finished my short film script that we'll be hopefully producing and making.
cheers.
Yeah.
I'll try to give it a look later.
Yeah. there is a role for one of the two of you. It's a voiceover only.
Oh no, but all me all day.
Yeah, it's just the urologist part.
Oh, pisser.
Speaking of pissing, oh, that went well.
Well, this is more in the sperm category, but yeah.
Oh, I'm coming. So deal with the masturbatorium.
Hey now.
It's funny.
So
I just recently got cast in a short film that's going to be filmed. Was supposed to film this weekend because of the weather. It's being knocked out a week. As a lawyer, we're playing a lawyer in a short film.
Is this Kevin or his family?
His son. Yeah.
Nice. That's cool. When you are looking at the script, Matthew, think about if anybody there's a teenage boy that I need for it potentially. You'll know that the 10-year-old boy that's in the script is going to be Logan, obviously, and the little girl is going to be Adam's daughter because he said I talked to him the other day and he goes, write stuff for my daughter, and I was like, all right, I'll put parts in it for everything if it'll make you show up.
You ever read
Right, I'm gonna make you show up.
Do we know any teens? I don't even know if they're teen actors.
That's an interesting thing to say.
Yeah,
Do I know any
they're teen
teens?
actors. Yeah.
Well, they could be like literally like
Oh,
17.
you just made it so much better. Do I know a teen?
But so at the funeral today, I ran into two friends I hadn't seen in a long time. I sat with two friends I hadn't seen in a long time, and one of them was saying, "Yeah, I do a lot of hands-on stuff with teens at the church these days," and Mary and I both went, "Oh, really? That maybe you shouldn't say it like that." He goes, "I mean, well, they're more all over me than I am all over them." And I'm like, "You're not making it better."
Have you seen that there's an Instagram
The
account?
male Karens.
It's a woman who, for her, I could be wrong. She could do other stuff too on her Instagram account, but all I've ever seen is she reads these like similar to like "Am I the Asshole" stories, but instead of "Am I the Asshole," it's all people who had romantic relationships of some kind with their youth pastor. And I say of some kind because I think that in a lot of the cases it's like once they've hit 18, which I understand is grooming, and there's a whole I'm not trying to categorize it in a good way.
So what you're saying is once they were 18, they were too old.
No, but
Yeah,
like
that's
the
why they
woman
marry them when they turn 18 sometimes.
Right.
And
The
it's
woman-
perfectly fine. I waited till she was 18 and married her.
the woman is the woman who runs the Instagram account is talking about one of the bad sides of religion, and basically being like, this is like a regular practice, and like every time is like a different, like somebody posting on a Reddit kind of thread of like, I was 15 when I met my youth pastor or CYO leader or whatever he was, and in which some of those cases it might be a 5-year age gap, which isn't a huge deal
But it's
compared
the
to
power
a
dynamic,
20.
That's the
Right.
the huge deal.
Right.
Yeah.
And she talks about it. And I just was wondering if either of you had seen that at all.
I did see one of that nature. I don't know if if it was the same person. If you, I mean, and we sent each other some of these. Maybe you sent it to me. I don't remember.
Possible.
But that was her talking about a comment, or this woman I saw talking about a comment that somebody said was justifying. It's God's plan, and God will put people in your path, and that's why we, find women, that God meant for me, even if she was 14 when I met her. That was God's plan. And like, how do you argue God's plan? Well, God wouldn't make a mistake. I mean, he raped Mary when she was 12, so anything's possible.
I was about to say, do you really want me to argue with that?
I went onto, there was somebody had shared that. I don't know if you guys have seen the clip of Nick Fuentes from the last week talking about, it's not pedophilia because, they're 15, 16, whatever. And I commented the same comment I mentioned when Megyn Kelly said it, which was because he says the same thing. He says, it's barely legal. And I said, no, 18, 19 is barely legal. And I comment that every time now. I'm going to just be like, I'm going to be a super grammar Nazi on certain things so that like we can start using, I'm not going to be like, not on like everything, but on that particular thing, or, like toxic masculinity. Those are the things I'm going to champion every single time I see them. Right. And so I did it, and someone comments and goes, 18, 19 might be legal, but it's not okay, Michael Cole, or like, and it was like, and I was like, no, I'm not saying it's okay. I'm I'm pointing out the semantic issue of basically semantically whitewashing because you are saying the wrong thing. Like you're saying a technically wrong thing, and it's
Yeah.
almost whitewashing what you're saying, which is
Mhm.
like that's barely legal. And it's like, no, 19 is barely legal. Like 17 in a lot of places is
Depends on the state.
illegal. Yeah. Well, and
North
some
Carolina, 16 is barely legal.
some people pointed that out.
Yeah.
But like when we're talking about the country,
And then some
as a
states
whole-
are complicated. There's like mathematical formulas. It's like
Oh,
if
yeah.
someone's 2 years younger than you, if you're under 21, it's someone 2 years younger than you. Once it's,
those
it's,
ones
you know,
make
if
more
you're-
sense to me, even
Yeah,
though everybody
They're
thinks those are
complicated, but they are a little. They do make a little more sense. Yeah.
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 Well, I've heard a lot of people say like, oh, they're like essentially
Because it is
laws to
different.
al-
A two 10th graders together is
Yeah.
different than a college freshman and a 10th grader. Those are
Oh,
different
absolutely.
situations.
Mhm.
They
Well,
might
and
both be illegal, but they're different
Yeah.
situations.
Well, and in a place where it's black and white, if you're like, I'm
You're so racist.
17,
It's always race with you.
yeah. If you in the states where it's black and white, if you're like, I'm 17 and my girlfriend is 17, but I'm 6 weeks older than her and we've been having sex the whole year, and then I turn 18, should that 6 weeks count? Like where I'm 18 and she's
You're
17.
grandfathered.
And so like that's why I think those kind of, I think they call them Romeo and Juliet laws, make a little more sense. Or actually, in that the example I just used makes a lot of sense. Some of them are probably wider than I would like, but still, it's like someone. It's a lot different than me having sex with a 17-year-old.
Yeah, which I enjoy watching, but you shouldn't talk about it on the stream.
After that, I had a problem with the stream burning. This is absolutely getting cut.
Are we live? Are we even in the podcast? Have we
Oh
started?
yeah,
yet?
no,
We
we've
haven't
been
started?
going
yeah.
live.
No,
for a
I know
while.
I know we're streaming live, but have we actually started the podcast conversation yet?
No.
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 We
What's
got
there
9
to cut? We
minutes.
haven't started yet.
Well, I mean, this might even
This is just bonus content for Ricochet Rita, the one person watching live.
Yeah. Well, and $10 patrons always get the pre-show shenanigans.
Shenanigans. Okay, so the what is it? Roger. I can't remember his
Federer.
Roger Young.
Roger Young. God, I can't remember. I should know the name. It's a poem.
Yep. Yeah. So anyway. Oh, so yeah.
So it's funny,
I was getting
you
called out in the comments about that, and I'm like, I'm not defending it. I'm attacking this guy.
So it's funny. You reminded me of one of the recent, and I don't listen in order, so I don't know which one. Opening argument podcast episodes. They were Thomas and the lawyer, I forgot her name, that was on. They were talking about something and how Nazi-esque it is. It was something that about Kennedy, Robert Kennedy's plan to do these studies on withholding vaccines in a small African town from half the, do like a placebo study on vaccines, which is, immoral and unethical when you have a vaccine that works that you can use as a control. They're like, well, let's pull the control one just to see what happens. And he's trying to do the study, and they were talking about like Nazi experiments.
Yeah.
And Thomas made a joke. It's like, I am a Nazi about not being a Nazi, I'll be all over you about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I've definitely been repeating a lot the saying that I said last week on the podcast, which was the great thing about hate groups is they give us a group we can hate.
Yeah. I mean,
I came up with a thing yesterday. Yesterday I was hosting a showing of the documentary Heightened Scrutiny, which is about the Supreme Court case to try to overturn the Tennessee's ban on gender affirming care for adolescents, which unfortunately the Supreme Court, of course, said kill them. Who cares? Because that's what they always say. But in my remarks before I had like a 10-minute talk before the documentary presented, and during the Q&A at the end, someone asked, how come there was no mention of Christian nationals anywhere tonight, either in the documentary or in our remarks? And they asked the ACLU lawyer that, and she was like, yeah, I wondered that also, and because it's definitely a thing, blah, 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 but it wasn't on topic, to talk about that.
Yeah.
Wouldn't be helpful in the court case, like especially in the Supreme Court. You don't go to, hey, you Christian nationalists on the Supreme Court, this law is bad because it's a Christian nationalist law. Is not an argument you're going to make. And a friend of mine was sitting next to me, and I said, I purposely didn't mention it because it's so complicated to have to explain. I don't mean all you Christians. I just mean Christian nationalists into thing.
Yeah.
And I was like, it's like toxic masculinity is a subset of masculinity. I was like instantly back in my Tony days. And then I came up with this. It's the opposite. Christian nationalism is the opposite of table salt. And that table salt is two poisons, sodium and chlorine, horrible poisons. But when you put them together, you get sodium chloride, which is delightful seasoning. Christian nationalism is two positive things, Christian and nationalism. But when you put them together, poison.
Is nationalism good?
It can be.
It can be.
It's not too far down the path.
Patriotism.
Don't fuck
patriotism
up my thing,
can be
but
good.
that doesn't work.
Have you? There's this old. I don't think it's a joke. I think it's an actual story of something that happened. But there was a teacher, a linguistic teacher, who was teaching about different languages have double negatives, but also they have double positives, and they're like, but in English, two positives can never be a negative. And then the guy goes, "Yeah, right."
That's it. Yeah.
It's an old.
It was like that was in the collection of jokes like, Mike, name two pronouns. Who? Me? Very good.
Good job.
Nice. Nice. I like all the whenever I see like an actual good, like not transphobic pronoun joke that is actually like good, I'm like, oh yeah, good. Like that's how we, like I hate to quote like so many of the bad rhetoricians of the last 10 years, but we have to, in some ways, one of the things we have to do is fight bad speech with good speech. And so, having like good jokes that are about transness that are not transphobic is a good thing, because then it shows like, oh yeah, like this is not, it's not that this subject is taboo, it's that you're an asshole. And like, and when you said the thing about like not mentioning Christian nationalism during the thing, it's like, yeah, because ultimately that may be like a turnoff. So like removing that when it's not 100% necessary, or
it wasn't the point of my talk.
Right.
My talk was about humanism and why an atheist group is hosting this documentary that's not about religion.
Yeah.
And I could have went with, because Christian nationalists are on the other side of the fence on that, and been my point, which is partially true. But I went for that well, we're humanists and we believe in social justice. So if any marginalized community is being attacked based on fear and illogic and just a discrimination, that's not that's something we can't sit by. We have to stand up and fight. So I didn't have to specify that Christian nationalists are the ones who are doing it, and I didn't want to spend 5 minutes explaining what Christian nationalism for any Christians in the audience who might turn off their ears as soon as I blamed them. Even though I wasn't blaming them. Like it just seemed like an extra talk I didn't have to do.
We got 3 minutes. I have to go to the bathroom real quick. You two keep it up.
Can you bring the microphone so we can hear how loud your stream is?
I'm gonna go all the way down the hall.
I'm looking for some porcelain punishing. I want to hear it.
But I'll mute it anyway.
Oh,
he hates us.
I mean, hate's a strong word. I think he just strongly dislikes us. Because to be honest, we both give him shit. If you ever listen to Cinnamon, you'll notice it. So I really think that as far as the topic, what is, if for you, what is your biggest, because you've been through more political stuff than me for sure, what is your biggest memory of like breaking the law, like chaotic good? Either that you or your parents were involved in, because your parents were involved in some really good stuff from our past conversations.
That's a good question. I'm not, I mean, we definitely didn't align with what other people were doing. I don't know if breaking the law came into it.
Chaotic good, though.
Yeah, but I'm saying, but there was a thing where, like, they were going to start busing more black kids into my school district from a different district.
Okay.
And most of the parents, I was like in kindergarten, most of the parents boycotted the school system and took their kids out of school. And me and my brother went to school. Like, so it wasn't like we weren't breaking any law, but we, ignored the boycott because my parents didn't think it was a problem. So, so there was like thing going against the grain, but it wasn't. It wasn't
okay
as breaking the law. We just like all of our neighbors were being racist assholes, and my parents were like, "We are not going to be racist assholes like them. You're going to school. Like we're not boycotting."
And we know your dad
you were
wasn't going to
mimicking
be
a-
racist because he loved black women.
Whenever we get a chance.
I mean, I like.
When I was in college, my mom was always trying to fix me up with a Jamaican coworker of hers who was like 5 years older than me. But she was always like,
Wow.
"But she's hot, Matthew. She's so hot." I'm like, "She is, but I'm
You're like, I
18
agree.
and she's 22, 23. Like, she's not going to be interested in me." She's not gonna start. I was a freshman in college, I think.
Mom,
maybe.
it is not her hotness that is the problem. It is my ability to get her hotness.
Yes.
I like to get her hotness. It is my ability to handle the hotness.
Hey, everybody.
When we are, it's 6:30.
It's 6:30. That's why I say.
Give me a
everybody.
second because I have a little surprise for you guys.
Oh, he's gonna get naked.
I am gonna get naked. It's all right. Here we go. Hi everybody, and welcome back to the Talking About the Big Stuff podcast with Michael Cole and Matthew Cravat. I am Michael Cole.
And I am Matthew Cravat.
Look at that title card right in the beginning. You don't have to edit it in.
Well, I'm gonna edit it in to make it smoother.
Well, I
than
know.
that,
Just
but
I like it.
yeah.
And with the border on the live stream,
Yeah.
Color
I did a lot
branding,
of work
baby.
today.
you did.
Yep. A lot of work, and yeah. And I saw. Was it today or was that yesterday? I had a doctor's appointment. No, it was yesterday. And I am doing well, and I'm healthy. She was like, "You don't have to see me in 3 months. You can see me in 6 months."
And you got a haircut.
That was a few days ago, but yeah.
Yeah, I had a couple of recent doctor visits because I told you that I was suffering from the gout, and so in a medication for it. So I've been having to go every couple month and a half, whatever, just to check my uric acid levels and see if the medicine's working, which it kind of is. It's not below the target, but it's close enough that we're good. But the last 3 visits, my blood pressure has been normal, and my blood pressure has not been normal in 15 years. And I'm at my worst, my heaviest weight right now, and my least active because I'm not at work, so I'm not going to the office and walking. So I'm in doing everything wrong for my blood pressure to be good, except not working. So my
The disease
over-the-top
of
blood
kings.
pressure was 100% stress from work for like the last 15 years.
Yeah,
Now that
yeah.
I'm not working, suddenly my blood pressure is in the normal range.
My aunt was
Oh.
telling me that my uncle was on whatever blood pressure medication, and then his boss, he changed bosses, and they had to take him off the blood pressure medication because
Right.
it was too low.
He did not
Oh.
need it anymore. Yeah.
You're too relaxed. You need more stress.
I'm just not made to be in work because I had good bosses and jobs I
Yeah.
liked, and I still stressed out. Now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
All
I can
right,
see that.
so tonight's topic, as the title card said, is
Breaking
breaking
the
the
law,
law for good. And so, let's do our usual dive into why I wanted to talk about this. So it's something that we've been hearing a lot for many, many years, that like anytime there's any issue with cops or authority figures hurting and or killing anybody, we hear, well, they shouldn't have been breaking the law. And obviously we heard that with the ICE murder of holy crap, I had her name earlier.
Oh, come on, it would
Renee
be good
Good.
if you could remember
Renee
that.
Good.
I remembered Good, but I couldn't remember Renee Good. And they were saying like, well, if she'd been obeying the law, blah blah blah. Like, so I thought
She obeyed
let's-
the wrong person. The person who said drive away, she obeyed instead of the person who said stay. If she had obeyed the right person, we wouldn't have had to
right,
kill her.
yeah. So I thought we should talk about not all. We don't have enough time to talk about all, but some of the occasions in which breaking the law has been the right thing. And now I focused solely on U.S. history, but you guys are welcome to dive in with whatever you have. But I'd like to start us off, if you're cool, with an example, which is as far as I'm aware, the first time anybody in the United States broke the law for good, when they wrote the words, "When in the course of human events it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve the political bands which have connected them with another, and to assume among the powers of the earth the separate and equal station to which the laws of nature and of nature's God entitle them. A decent respect to the opinions of mankind requires that they should declare the causes which impel them to the separation."
That's pre-American history, technically.
Next on
Technically.
Bible verses with Mike.
It's the Declaration of Independence. It's the opening of
Well,
Declaration. I hope you know that.
no. Well, I mean, how
I don't know. I didn't know the
sounds like
whole
a Bible
thing.
verse.
I didn't know the whole thing before I wrote it down, but I did know when in the course of human events.
Yeah, that part you're supposed to know.
Yeah. But the point being, like, we talked about this when we talked about
What our founding
political
document
violence.
means there's times when you're supposed to stand up and break the law.
Well,
because
and our founding
get
document
a
was
written
breaking the
term.
law. Like
Yeah,
the revolution,
the revolution was
breaking,
breaking the law 100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
We
And-
are based on breaking the law to overthrow our
Yeah.
shackles.
Yeah, we've talked a couple times more on the violence side than the specifically breaking the law side, but like the idea that, of the rhetoric that is thrown out now by everybody, basically, of like, well, when it comes to violence, it's everybody like, oh, there's no good reason for political violence, and it's like I can name 100 times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then as far as breaking the law, like, yeah, we started as an act of breaking the law. And I would argue that some of the most important moments in U.S. history either happened because of breaking the law or were actual,
Yeah.
breaks
I mean, a
in
lot
the
of
law.
huge Supreme Court decisions got there by someone breaking the unjust
Yeah.
law and then going up.
And
through the
then it
chain to
became
overthrow it.
precedent.
Because
Well, I
it's
will
hard
say
to- it's hard to have standing if you
Yeah.
haven't been punished by the law. So
Right.
like that's
True.
they'll say, "Oh, you being afraid you'll get punished is not standing. You actually have to have gone to jail
Mhm.
to be
Yeah.
able to sue."
And I was going to just get into that too, which is I think that when these people talk about you should expect that if you're breaking the law, there are every one of these, as far as I'm aware, every one of these examples that I've written down has had consequences.
Consequences, schmonsequences, as long
But-
as I'm rich.
Yeah. Or is that Tom Lehrer again?
Daffy Duck.
Oh, okay. Sounds like
I
Tom
did.
Lehrer.
Daffy Duck. The great one, Daffy Duck.
Yeah. They have a
Consequences,
lot of
schmonsequences.
similar things.
I think it's I think he was a Aladdin thing. He had the genie, and they're like, "There's consequences for those wishes. Consequences, consequences. As long as I'm rich." When he's stealing all the money from the,
Yeah. So anyway, the point being, yeah, we are aware that consequences are a part of this process, but the nice thing in a lot of the there are examples here where people died, but like if you get jailed, you can appeal it. You can say like, oh yeah, I broke
Okay.
the law because it was an unjust law, right?
right. And sometimes you have
yeah.
to be in prison to be able to appeal.
Right. And
Yeah.
and obviously we had a time where the death penalty, for example, was much more officially expedient. It obviously when
Mhm.
you get killed on the street, that's expedient but not official, and it's not necessarily good. But like John Brown, for example, was killed. He was hung,
Yeah.
right? I'm pretty sure he was hung.
He was right.
And he was
That's a Blazing Saddles reference.
he was
They
hung.
said you was hung, and they was right.
Oh, but he was hung, and so like he didn't have a chance to appeal, obviously, but it doesn't mean that we don't look at him as well. I actually shouldn't say we, because there's probably a lot of people who still would say, especially now, would say like he was a bad
Rabble-rouser.
rabble-rouser, and not in the not in the good way, but.
Yeah.
Most of us go, I love that shirt that says, don't be friends with anyone, or don't tolerate anyone that John Brown would have killed. I like that shirt. And the idea being, John Brown I bring him up first because he was killed for his crime.
Yeah.
But Harriet Tubman was breaking the law with the underground. Anybody who did the underground
Any
slaves
enslaved
running
person
away.
who ran
Yeah.
away. Yeah.
Yeah. And anybody that enabled or abetted them.
Right. especially once the Fugitive Slave Act that was right before the Civil War, where free states had to turn them over if they were found, like if you were a slave escaped to Massachusetts, for example, and
Yeah,
bounty hunters came.
The property ownership still counted.
Right,
So,
right.
you're supposed to
And I
return
think
the
that was
property.
one of the final things that kind of led into the Civil War. So I don't think it lasted long, although long is pretty,
But it's very reminiscent of like Texas law saying if you help someone get an abortion.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. How topical.
And I think that's a great example of a way that like
Like, that would be a
breaking the
law
law
I'd be
down.
happy to help break.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
mean, so before we started recording, my dad was like, my dad, Alex asked, like, did my mom and dad ever, break laws like that because they were, socially active? And that is one, actually, Alex. In a way, my dad was a pharmacist, and across the street from his pharmacy is where the bus stopped coming from the southern states to New York. There was a hotel or something right across the way. People would come to stay at the hotel to have their abortions before they got back on the bus. Like they come up Thursday, Friday, have an abortion, stay in the hotel over the weekend and make sure nothing went wrong. Monday, take a bus back down to the southern state. And my dad worked in the pharmacy that sold them the medications, painkillers, and whatever they post abortion needed. So he aided and abetted in that way. What would have been was illegal in the other state where the people are coming. But he definitely gave support and succor to people who came here to break the law.
At that point, what your dad did wouldn't have been breaking the law, though, right?
Yeah, he wasn't personally breaking the law in New York.
Whereas now there are laws, there are states that are trying to make it so that would be illegal, like going to New York.
No,
like they're trying to get people like arrested in California, like in Texas, or I don't know, one of those states is, and Newsom is like, no, we're not extraditing a doctor, you to.
Yeah,
no.
Some shit, man. Jesus.
I like that our abortion laws are very quickly going to become similar to our fireworks laws, where you have like you're going to have like stuff right over the border and make sure you have the right license. Like it's pretty fucked up.
So us here in North Carolina, we go to South Carolina to buy fireworks.
Yeah.
In New York, it was you went to Chinatown because the laws just weren't enforced there. Like no police were arresting people in Chinatown for having fireworks that were illegal outside of Chinatown. So technically they were illegal in Chinatown, but that was like an unenforced law.
When I lived in Colorado, they would sell them in Colorado, but they wouldn't sell them to Colorado citizens and you had to sign a waiver saying that you wouldn't set them off in Colorado. So they were like, we want the revenue, but we don't want them set off here, and we don't want any of our people doing it. And so I had a Massachusetts license still, and I was like, yeah, sure, I'll sign the the little waiver or whatever. And me and my friends got some fireworks. And I was 21, so it was like young.
It was the same where I went to college in Vermont.
Off a bottle rocket.
Yeah, it was the same thing in Vermont. Is because of all the trees, they didn't want us, and all the flammable material, they didn't want us setting them off. So you were just mentioning consequences.
Mm-hmm.
So I remember very, very much pretty recent memory of COVID times, and those businesses and those companies that were choosing to, not allow people back that weren't vaccinated or wearing PPE. And it was all about enforcement, not that because again, enforcement is when laws become action, because you can ask or expect or do anything you like as a lawmaker. But when you're breaking the law, if there's no consequence, which is often a conservative's reason for saying the prison's so successful, is the fear of punishment is why people don't do bad things.
And that's why prisons are empty, because people are so afraid.
It's why we have the smallest prison population in the world.
Right, because it works so well.
Right. It's slim to none.
Yeah.
So when I was reading your notes, like so many of these, the enforcement was what we remember. And then we remember the crime, because the enforcement is what made the news.
Right.
Not necessarily that the person did the bad thing, because let's be honest, while we record this, there's going to be hundreds of bad things done in our state. But it's the enforcement that we're going to hear about the next day, because we live in a society of retaliatory justice rather than restorative justice.
Except on this podcast, because we're part of the Can network of creators.
I was hoping you'd catch that.
So one of the things that I want to talk about, I mentioned John Brown and obviously the Underground Railroad and Harriet Tubman, and there was with Harriet Tubman, I would almost say it's almost like a form of civil disobedience, because there wasn't anything. I mean, I'm sure there was violence that happened there, right? But it's not like John Brown was going in and just killing people. Whereas I think like escaping and helping to escape is significantly less.
I won't call it civil disobedience because
okay.
it's more. It's because it's civil disobedience is more like I'm doing a sit-in and won't get out of your
Sure.
way. It's not helping people.
Okay.
Right. Okay.
I mean,
so
it's a lot. It's hard to say because, like, it's like
yeah.
we're all 100% agreement that people should have been escaping enslavement. They were.
Yeah.
So she wasn't doing anything wrong morally, ethically, but legally she was.
I mean, John Brown was killing people, and I don't think he was doing anything wrong morally or ethically, unless I'm not aware of details there that, like he killed some randos or whatever. But no, I think that like I was trying to transition to the idea that some of this isn't necessarily like violent, like when we talk about Renee Good.
No, agreed. Yeah.
She would be more similar to a lot of those civil disobedience kinds of things. And talk about like the counters, sit-ins at diners that didn't allow black people, and so the black people sat at the counter and refused to leave.
Mm-hmm.
One of the big famous ones was Durham, right?
Winston-Salem.
Winston-Salem. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, it was Winston. Sorry, I knew our state had one.
Woolworths in Winston-Salem.
Yeah. And then there was one in Texas, I think, like a big one in Texas. But like, having that, that's, we're not talking about somebody like, beating somebody up or murdering somebody. We're just talking about like, literally just sitting there. I didn't put it in the notes, but Rosa Parks, like they,
I was wondering why that didn't make it. Yeah.
It was just, it was me, writing down as much as I could as quickly as possible. And there was going to be gaps in there for sure. The march on Selma, I think, I don't know what the legality around their actual march was. I would imagine that they probably had permits, but certainly the police broke it up. So they maybe, like there was some technical laws broken, like, you
walk in the street and block traffic at this point.
Yeah. And I think that that's also an interesting way to look at, like, not, to look at the way to how we justify which laws should be broken. Often could be, is the punishment like very clearly more grievous than the offense? And when you think about the march in Selma, and you think about people getting dogs sicked on them and fire hoses shot at them, it's hard to like with 2025 mentality and not hopefully being as little racist as a white guy can be right now. It's hard to not like see that and be like, there is no comparison between marching for your rights and sicking dogs and fire hoses. Like these are, this punishment is wild. Even if you did think that what they were doing was wrong, it is wildly out of proportion for what they did. If you were driving away after trying to tell videotape ICE agents and you get shot in the face, wildly disproportionate.
Yeah, well, that's Matthew's take on anytime any officer of the law, I don't want to say police officer because ICE is not. ICE has one function and it's not police. They don't investigate crimes. But anytime some government official, let's say, kills a person, they should go to jail for life if the person that they shot was not guilty of a crime that a jury can sentence them to death for.
Mm-hmm.
If you're not a capital punishment by a jury and a judge after due process, then how the fuck can one person decide capital punishment's okay? Just because they have a badge and a gun. And even if it's saving their lives, because killing them is not against the law. It's not a capital punishment in some states. If it's against your life in a place that has capital punishment, you have an argument. But it's, he was running away, and evading arrest is a death penalty in this state. Really? Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, that's I agree with you on that. Like there has to be some consequences there, which largely there haven't been. I know that Derek Chauvin
But they have
went
they
to
get
jail, but,
conditional immunity. You know, it's
Yeah.
like they can't be personally sued or
No.
anything because God forbid we don't
Fuck
want that
me.
to happen. And then
Right.
we want it to
Right.
be the people they work with to be the ones who decide if they get prosecuted or not.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's only if there's enough video that there's enough outrage in the right state, because like it's not happening, or in the right without federal government protecting you. Because I guarantee you, if people push to get Jonathan Ross actually to get indicted, they're going to move to go to federal court because he's a federal officer.
Yeah.
And so he'll move to federal court, and then Trump will pardon him once it's in a federal court.
And they're going to take his talk show away from him too.
Yeah, well, it's also the bartender at Madhavi's bar is named John Ross, and we're like, he is hating life right now.
Yeah. Oh,
he's not even British.
Yeah, that would be terrible to be like have the name of
it's like such a common name for
like Derek Chauvin is not like that common of a name. There's probably not that many other Derek Chauvins out there.
Yes, no, there aren't very many chauvinists out there.
Yeah, all right. So I was also thinking when it comes to civil disobedience about Vietnam,
hiding families in your attic.
Sure. Okay. I said I focused on U.S.
I know. I went
but
outside.
Yeah. No. Good.
No, that's a good example.
It's a good example, especially because there's been a few times in the last year or so with the ICE stuff specifically where conservatives have said, the liberals and leftists have said stuff about Anne Frank, and conservatives have been like, Anne Frank wasn't an illegal immigrant. And it's like, are you how familiar with the story are you?
Literally, that is the crime. I mean, she didn't enter the country illegally. Yeah. They changed the law to say all the refugees who came in are now illegal.
Yeah,
but I would argue that that's what's going on in a lot of cases.
Yeah,
here.
100%.
I had
not
a friend
at all.
I had a friend who
it's almost like fugitive is fugitive.
We changed the law after the fact. We said, "Oh, you came in here for asylum. That was cool. It's not cool anymore. Now we're tracking you down."
Right. That was cool until now.
Yeah. I had a friend who she entered on like a student visa or whatever. It was like I don't remember why. It was 10 years.
I have a daughter who entered on a student visa.
Yeah. But she entered on a student visa and set up a life here. And then when the visa like expired, and it for whatever reason it was 10 years. I remember her telling me it was a 10-year window. She was like, it expired. I've been trying to get it renewed or citizenship for years. She's a lesbian woman and she was getting married that year, but this was prior to, is it Obergefell? That was, it was prior to Obergefell. So like her lesbian marriage wasn't going to be enough to get her, that
federally recognized to get permanent residence and eventual citizenship.
And obviously we're 10 years down the road from actually we're more than 10 years down the road from Obergefell.
Yeah, we're within 10 years of it being overthrown. So
true. 10 years is like hopeful though, Matthew. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, I don't know
because we could fix.
I don't know if you've heard about Roe versus Wade.
Yeah.
Time does not make a difference. They just need a good case.
Yeah, true.
That is a fantastic line. I'm marking that.
Yeah. I don't know if you've heard about Roe versus Wade. I agree that like that's the Anne Frank example is great. Don't mark that. The Anne Frank example is great because you're right. She was breaking the law essentially by existing. Like
no, but I meant the family that was hiding.
The family that was
her family and
that,
others in their
and they did the right thing. They absolutely
they were breaking the law every day. They had them hidden there.
Yeah. So the whole immigrating to a place that is not somewhere where you'll be prosecuted. You were mentioning that as people during World War II era. I was speaking to someone earlier, a close friend of mine, talking about moving out of this country to Australia and how we were mentioning the other countries or cities that she'd want to go to. And I was like, well, what about South America? She goes, yeah, South America's not very friendly with the U.S. right now. It's like, you're right. What about Canada?
She goes, very friendly with them right now. Like you could go move down there and end up in you know,
Yeah.
Bombed by
second
us.
state of Venezuela, or you know,
Yep.
Yep. I have a
So-
friend who recently got a job in Tasmania so that she can move there because she's afraid for her trans daughter being in America. So they are splitting the family in half. Husband is staying here with the other underage minor child. They have other children who are old enough to be here by themselves. And I think he has like 18 months after she gets there, under the way their visa and immigration laws work, that he can just join her under her visa. So like he can
Okay.
like kind of wait it out for a while and see, do we have to all move there? Is this what me? But she, got a job in Tasmania so that she can get, legal residency for that, that visa for 18 months, and then it'll become permanent or whatever however their laws work. But but which is weird because Tasmania is kind of a conservative area. It's like moving to the south, like, from Australia being more liberal, but
Now I know.
But even their more conservative area is better than being here these days.
yeah,
So I never expected that as an American, I would be having a conversation with another adult with a child who's thinking, yeah, wow, well, all these places are less welcoming to the country that I am a citizen in. And I'm concerned about, is this a crime, or will I be prosecuted, or will I be seen as a threat if I go there? And I said, well, there's really only two ways. Unfortunately, I only see polar opposites at this point. If you leave now, you could be seen as the person that got out when you knew it was going to be really bad and you made the right decision, or you can be seen as you're that crazy, expat Yankee who's going to go to a country and is going to cause all this trouble because you're bringing all the rhetoric there with you. Like, how can you not? You're an American. The stuff that we were saying, the kind of ideas that we were discussing could be the case, is very much how some of these immigrants are feeling now, not wanting to come to America. That my entire 42 years of what I can remember has always been, we're the welcoming bunch. Please come here, prosperous, and enjoy your
make
freedom
us
and all
better
of this.
while
And I
we
thought,
make your life better. It was always the dream.
it
was supposed to be
not
the
that now.
dream.
Unless your name is Stephen Miller.
Yeah, but I will say that I
Dracula.
actually think that without, they probably have said it outright, but like part of the point for them is letting the rest of the world know you're not welcome here unless we specifically, allow
Yeah, I
them.
mean, that was the whole in Trump 1.0, the whole zero tolerance for families and ripping children away and taking children away from the families. That was so that parents would tell people back home, don't come here with your families, they will steal your children from you. Like that was the goal, was to make it so they wouldn't want to come here.
Yeah.
As sorry.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, Alex, to your point about your friend, as far as leaving the country, I get the impulse to do that, and Sarah and I have had the discussion about like, what's the point at which we do it. Now,
What's the point?
We're in. No, I don't mean what's the point of it. I mean, like, what's our
No.
breaking point?
What's the point in time?
Right.
What's the tipping point?
But I do think, and I think I've mentioned this before. As far as we know, we have a straight child. We are a straight couple. We are white. We have a lot of the privileges that are going to mean that we are last on the chopping block in a lot of ways. And therefore, it is important for us to stay here so we can vote and hopefully fix this problem as long as we can safely. Now, I think, because I know that you can vote as a expat, but that's only right now. Who knows if that will? I could
Very
absolutely see that log. I mean, that is something that I could see being.
Those are the
Yeah,
votes.
it's almost like once you're seen as a defector, do you even have prominence anymore?
Right. That was the votes they were that the scumbag piece of shit North Carolina State Justice was trying to throw out. These are trying to move out to the Supreme Court, the state Supreme Court.
Many of those are military.
Yeah. He was trying to throw out all, because the way the law works is if you are out of state, even if you're a child born to Americans out of the country and you've never been to America, you're born to Americans, you're still American. Yeah. And you vote in
even
whatever
like
your last state
people.
of residence was.
Yeah.
And he was like, why should they be able to vote here? Because it's the fucking law, asshole. That's why they should be allowed to vote here.
But that's the law for now, and I actually think that would be I don't want to say non-controversial, but it would be a much less controversial than a lot of other things.
Yeah,
they're
it'll be usually
doing.
because it'll be like people who work at like our prior company of BMRU. I'll be like, wait, so if I move to for a 9-year expat position in Europe, I can't vote anymore. I have to come home to a president I didn't vote for. It's like just because I wanted to work out of the country for a couple of years.
Yeah, but
of course the entire military. Though they might make exceptions for the military.
I would say that I think that a lot of times there's exceptions for military on that, and that would be the way that they would. It's not something I can't see as a possibility, and so like I don't.
Except I will say the scumbag in North Carolina was trying to throw out the military votes too, because scumbag.
Because some of them might not go their way.
Yeah.
But
tell me you're scared without telling me you're scared.
Tell me you don't believe in democracy without telling me you don't believe in democracy.
And that's one of the ways in which that I actually think we should be obeying the law as it is right now, as far as I know, which is like we should be using democracy properly. Now, like every time we hear about fraud, election fraud, it's almost always conservatives. I don't know that I've heard of. It's also like very minimal that I'm hearing about it at all anyway, but it's always conservatives. It's another one of those things where it's like this is the thing they bitch about and they're the only ones who do it. Like everyone I've ever met in my entire life who has admitted to breaking or abusing any kind of welfare system voted for Trump. Every single, without fail, every single person I know.
The conservative thing is I do it, so I assume everyone else is doing it too, and probably worse than I did. I had a reason when I did it, but everyone else must be doing
Trump is
what I did.
I needed the money. I need the money. I lost my job. Well, did you vote? And that's why you lost your job? Oh, well, I didn't think it happened to me. And being on this podcast has taught me that although conservatism, my idea of it was always, I don't like things that change because I watch the world around me change past me or beyond me. What I also have learned is empathy is a disease to them and they avoid it like the plague. However, they expect absolute and utter empathy as soon as it happens to them.
Right. The fuck your feelings crowd cries when you don't.
Except for my gay son.
Well, yeah. Well, it's I mean, it's the classic. I don't know how to teach you empathy, but that is you can't be a Republican if you have empathy. You just can't be because like that thing. People go, how can you be gay and be a Republican? How can you be black and be a Republican? How can you be trans and be a Republican? Caitlyn Jenner. Well, because I don't have empathy for anyone else. Like if I'm okay personally right this second, I don't care that people who look like me or act like me or have my background are not okay because I don't have empathy.
I saw a video yesterday on Instagram. It was a black guy talking about it was behind him was a video of the like incel manosphere, like heads of that essentially. So it was Nick Fuentes, bald head Mick fighter guy,
Tate.
Andrew Tate and his brother. And I'm forgetting who the other couple were. A couple of people
the most masculine men I ever knew with a lisp.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. And the guy and the black guy that was talking was like, guys, I know that we look at these guys and we think this is terrible, but he goes, you have to keep in mind that when I was a kid, a disqualifying feature of being a white nationalist would have been not being white. And he's like, and look at it's like a rainbow coalition of of people.
Well, because they're so stupid. Steve Miller is Jewish, right? They're so stupid because they don't realize that, dude, you're fighting to be the last man standing. You want to be the last one.
How about Peter Thiel?
That's all you're going to be.
Yeah,
Peter Thiel, the out gay. Just I want the dystopian cyberpunk future man. I build my bunkers. I fund the vice president.
Yeah,
and I like men. Like it just click. It doesn't work. It doesn't work.
It's like Laura Loomer, who's like all of a sudden going, "There's a Nazi problem on our side." Yeah. Wake up and notice it, but she's fine with hating every other group. She's like, "Why are they hating on me?" Mm-hmm. But she's fine hating on everybody else, and she's just stupid to realize that. It's like if you go for your other podcast, I'm gonna step into your other podcast for a second.
Great.
So in the 10 Commandments, Edwin Robinson plays the Jewish governor, right? Who's like when they're being forced to leave Egypt, he's like, wait, why do I have to leave? I'm one of you. I've been the governor over the other Jews. And the Egyptian's like, but you're still a Jew. Out.
Yeah.
You know, like they all want to be that. They want to be the governor over the other, whatever they are. And then realize that when you get rid of everybody else, you're the last. Congratulations, you're the last one we kill.
Yeah.
Congratulations, you're the last asshole that didn't see it coming.
Yeah. Like, thanks for helping us.
Boy.
Your reward is you're the last one.
Right. You were a useful idiot.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah. No.
God, didn't that happen before? Oh, World War II. Oh. Huh. Funny.
What about- yeah. And I also want
How
to talk
about crime?
Yeah, breaking the law. No. So I think like, as far as I know that like we're gonna, we use the word crime kind of in two different ways. One is like breaking the law, things that are against the law, but there's also, what are you doing here?
You're too young. Never mind. It's okay.
Oh, but also we talk about crime a lot of times, what being kind of specific to like burglary and like crime that is like victim specific, right? But
Okay.
but like I look at Stonewall, which I will admit I don't know nearly enough about Stonewall, but like essentially the idea of just like existing as gay men was the crime there, right? As far as I know, like not just existing, but like meeting other gay men and living as not just be like I'm gay up here, but being gay was the crime. And obviously there was the riots and that, but I believe the cops started that, or am I wrong about that? The cops were trying to break it up or close it down, and then the violence might have started on the other side, but the actual
the police raided the Stonewall, which was a gay club, and the riots were in response to the police's violent raids. So
right. Yeah. I was close.
Yeah. It was private, and then within that, it was a series of riots and demonstrations. So I'm sure some of them were demonstrations that became riots when there was violence from the police, and some probably were just riots because the police started it by their violent raid to begin with.
Yeah. And Matthew, you were in New York at the time. Do you remember that?
I was born in 1967. The riots happened in 69. So yeah, I don't. A toddler, so I don't really remember.
I only asked so that I could point out how old you are.
I was around, but not paying attention to the news. Too many things were going on Sesame Street that day.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think like the big takeaway for me has to be that like Matthew, you and your family do go to protests, so you're a little more active. So I'm going to speak for myself in this way, but like us as like non-active political entities, people who support but aren't necessarily going out and putting themselves in harm's way, or
slacktivist.
Slacktivist. There we go. I have not heard that phrase before, but that's fair.
Which I hate that phrase because I think because it means most people who are active online, but I don't go anywhere. I think that's doing a good job too. I think the negative connotation is a bad negative connotation.
Yeah.
No, but
anyway,
I use it ironically.
But like those of us who are not breaking any laws that I'm aware of, behave around or treat the people who are allowing, like I get probably illegal to like to tell people about ICE raids coming, like there's probably, because I know they're trying to shut a lot of those sites down and stuff. People who are doing those little bits and pieces of how we who aren't necessarily engaged in that, because I've never seen an ICE raid to report anywhere.
Well, stay tuned. They're supposedly renting out hotels in February all around the area, so we might be seeing more ICE stuff. And it's too late for anyone hearing the podcast, but my wife is hosting a town hall tomorrow with a bunch of speakers from ACLU, psychologists and like counselors, caseworkers, candidate for district attorney who was a congressman is going to be there. Boots on the ground anti-violence activists going to be all people. How do we handle this? What do we do? How do you be safe if you're either at home or protesting or whatever?
Very
Yes.
nice.
Yeah, we're doing a big town hall about it tomorrow.
Great.
So it'll be
Great.
an old town hall by the time anyone hears the pod.
Yeah. But still, it's important work, and you know, I've mentioned it a bunch of times, but your wife and daughter are a huge inspiration, and I am really, you know, happy to know them. You know, not to say that you aren't, Matthew. You do some
I
stuff too,
am
but
not.
but they are
I
very
just run an
impressive.
entire 501c nonprofit. That's fine. That's
Yeah.
not worth nothing.
No big deal. No big deal.
But anyway, yeah, so I want to talk about how we as people who aren't necessarily breaking the law can support the people who
Well, so I think
are
also one of the
breaking law in
questions
the
is
way that
when
we
is it?
think.
You know, not that I'm against political violence, because you know I'm not. I'm Charlie Kirk, a motherfucker. I don't care. But the question is to know when is breaking the law going to help your cause and when is it going to hurt it? And I'm not one of
Sure.
those people who says you're only hurting yourself. Violence never solved anything. I'm not saying that, because
No.
violence has solved lots of shit.
But
But
also, yeah,
you know, we're in a place right now where if there was enhanced violence in Minneapolis, I think that's what Trump wants, because then he can pull the Insurrection Act out of his ass and say, we have to look how violent they are. So
Yeah.
it's not
Sure.
always the
Right
right
there.
response. I mean, I've heard people say, and I don't disagree, that it's entirely possible that the reason they're doing it in Minnesota is because the George Floyd protests were so big and so and got violent in some cases, and they're hoping to say the same people are there. We can get them to do that again, and that's what they want, so they can strike back. So it's hard to tell how much violence is appropriate. I would love to see some ICE people get Charlie Kirked, but I'm afraid that would just cause a bigger crackdown. It wouldn't end up being a positive; it would end up being a negative for the cause. So I hope they all
It's
just
almost
get
like they
exposed to
can't be
something
the
and
direct
die of
target.
I
slow,
also think,
debilitating painful
especially-
diseases after their device.
I especially think that in a time where information is widespread, but accurate information isn't always, there could be, you know, there can be a lot of problem too there as far as the violent side of things and the breaking the law. Like we talked about it with the George Floyd stuff about, you know, there was protests where white people felt emboldened they were on the right side, but they were doing the wrong thing. And they were the ones who were getting the whole crowd in trouble. And we've talked, you know, obviously if you look at Charlie Kirk as an example, the guy who killed Charlie Kirk, there is still ambiguity around, you know, partly because they've made it that way, right? But like they've used what is very possibly, as far as I know, it hasn't been debunked that he was a conservative. There's I think the fact that they have not revealed information about the case makes me feel that's more and more likely every day.
Sure.
Because
otherwise they would be fucking screaming it from the roof. Even if they shouldn't legally for the case
Oh,
purposes,
absolutely.
the way this administration is, they would be shouting
even
it
if
if
they
they
shouldn't,
could.
they would be.
Cash Patel would absolutely be talking about it if there was stuff on
If he
their
had something
side.
that supported his story.
But like the point,
Guys, we got him.
But but like I think that, you know,
See you in Valhalla.
One of the downsides of breaking the law in a violent way or in a like really outward way is that it can be used against you very easily in today, you know, right now. And you know, like obviously what Renee Good was doing was like realistically, even if they had like, you know, cuffed her for the day or done anything, we would never have heard about her.
Yeah.
What she was doing was not like anything that would have been noteworthy on any kind of scale had she been like, you know, had the consequences not been the
So she was just
are-
detained and released. We wouldn't hear a thing.
not in
She
not
would have
North
been one of
Carolina.
1,000 people who have been. It wouldn't have
Minnesota
been
people might have heard
Okay.
about her, but in North Carolina, if she had been
Yeah.
detained and released and
Oh,
you know, we would
I
never
hear
have
what
heard
you're saying.
anything
Yeah, yeah,
about her. It's because
Yeah.
the punishment in this case is the thing that got her noticed at all. And we've had a million, you know, backseat quarterbacks.
Of course, we
trying
also
to be
don't
like,
know if she was
yeah.
doing anything other than dropping her kid off and then driving home. Like
Absolutely,
we know she was
absolutely.
involved with
That's
ICE
what I was about to
observing, but
say
we don't know
was-
if she was doing it that day. You know.
Yeah, that's what I was starting to say with the backseat quarterbacks, which I know is a mixed
Yeah.
metaphor, but but like the backseat driver,
Monday morning quarterback.
Monday quarterback. Yeah. I like backseat quarterback. I think we're sticking with backseat quarterback from now on. I'm making it. Clip it.
We're gonna
Alex.
stick with backseat quarterback. I like it.
It's a sex move.
I've been a backseat quarterback once or twice before.
Hike, penetrate.
But like that's my point is like she, you know, assuming she was doing most of what they were even saying she was doing. If she had been detained, detained and released, or detained and charged, you know, or fined, or whatever you do in that situation legally, like within a like within a reasonable legal consequence, we would never heard about it. And so like that's part of the, you know, but her situation was blown up outside of her own. That's not like other people like, you know, throwing a rock or, you know, when they were, what were they doing to
Kansas
ICE in
soup.
LA or whatever, the Kansas soup. Yeah.
Sandwiches.
You know, sandwiches, which again, like, I don't care about
Sandwiches.
that. Like but I also know that like, it becomes like a rhetorical, you know, like rhetorical device that the opposition can use against it. Right.
Yeah.
But like Renee Good doesn't really have that. So.
No, and oftentimes my handicap makes me play devil's advocate to my own detriment. And I've said my wife is now, because she is an absolute pacifist, she started to shift over to do the chaotic good thing. And I'm always over here saying, if you don't pay attention to what you say, it's gonna be used against you. Like, you've got to be so careful how you act and how you say. But where's the tipping point? And I think the tipping point is causing like the genuine trouble that gets remembered. And unfortunately, we have had some deaths happen in that process, and I don't love it any more than anyone else. But at the same time, I can feel empathy for Charlie's children, but none for his widow. I can feel empathy for Renee's partner and her children, but absolutely none for the person who took her life. So like the real innocence in the situation is where I can draw the line. But otherwise, I'm like, please be careful what you say and do, because they are not going to use it intelligently the way you're expecting. It's just going to be distilled down to the silliest. They hurt me, and then deploy the Marines.
Yeah. I mean, and that's unfortunately, we are at a crossroads too. With, I think that it's just a matter of time, and I am also not sure. Like so I'm not entirely familiar with the Insurrection Act, so please correct me when I say something wrong. But I heard someone mentioning yesterday that part of the Insurrection Act is that he can delay the midterms and subvert democracy. Is that he can?
That is his position. Yeah,
Okay.
That's what they've kind of. I don't know if that's supposed to happen, but
Yeah.
it's supposed to be able to. But that's that's the fear that he's trying to do that. I don't know if that's legal, but
Right.
legal schmiegel, he owns the Supreme Court, so everything's legal.
Right.
Yeah, I was
And
about
so-
to mention it's not going to stop. Yeah.
If we make the first move and he tries to do that, that's obviously a problem. But also if he just tries to do that, and then the move is at that point violence, like, right? I don't see, if you subvert democracy, what is the, and I'm going to screw up if this is a JFK quote or an MLK quote.
It's certainly not a
It's
junior
RFK.
quote.
It's the quote about I think it's MLK, and it's and I'm going to screw up the quote, but it's like when not given an option, not given a peaceful option, violence becomes the only option. That's not correct, but you know what I'm saying?
That sounds like MLK. It doesn't sound like
That's true.
Like JFK.
Okay, I'm looking it up because I feel like there was a quote similar from JFK too, which is why
I can't find it any
Or
easier than
maybe-
you.
Because it's like when you spell a word so
When
wrong
the internet
that,
fails you,
when you spell a word so wrong that even when given no peaceful option, a violent option. No. JFK quoted famously noted that those who make peaceful revolution impossible will make violent revolution inevitable.
Yeah,
It sounds
John-
more like MLK, but I knew it was. I thought it was.
so the
Yeah,
quote actually sounds even better
They
than what
probably
we
could be
think.
quoting someone else too, because like John Gilmore quote
Sure.
I found was violence is always the last option, but if that times comes, it is the only option. Just
Right.
kind of that's the same point.
Right. And so, like, are we getting to a
Oh.
point, especially like if we get to a point where they've,
Except,
if we
I'm
start,
sorry, John Gilmore probably said violence is always the last option, laddie. But when it comes to that, it's the only action. So
nice.
got to be otter of your own fat, you
Awesome.
do.
But if we get to a point where we've canceled or delayed or put off the midterms, and then I've heard it from several people on the right talking about his third term and like him not leaving office. And I'm just like, if we get to those points, like, yeah, violence or something like that is going to be inevitable. It is going to be necessary, and it's going to be illegal. Like, I don't think that we are immune to that. I'm hoping that KFC does its job first, and then that solves a lot of the problems for us, because that would be great. That would be a great solution if just, and I saw a video today. Some doctor saying that he has 2 to 4 more months to live based on but I'll believe it when I see it.
Well, I'll say we said that in a previous podcast, and Ricochet Reed in the chat said, "Yeah, I've been hearing that for 4 years."
Yeah.
It's always there. Yeah, looks like he has this
Yeah.
3 to 6 months. He's like, "Yep,
Mhm.
looks like he has that."
If there's any
Till
proof
till his
anybody
next
needs that
major
there is no
decline, he has
God.
that long. Well, also in classic dictatorship style, he has access to, at no one's behest, the best healthcare we can afford. So even if he is basically
Yeah.
on life support, we're never going to really know, and it's going to be covered up. And Caroline Leavitt's cross will only get larger with every time she addresses the country, because she has to keep covering for his decrepit butt. So yeah, it's an unfortunate situation.
Yeah. Oh, she's so gross. In the way she talks, even. I'm not just talking about like I know that there's people make fun of her looks, but like I'm not talking about her looks. I'm just talking about listening to her.
She's what's kind of what I think is curious is how when a conservative's in office, and Matthew will probably have noticed this for longer than us, like
I'm so
there
old.
is this
I'm
very
so fucking
specific
old.
there's this very because you've been through more presidencies. There's this very specific appearance that modern conservatives fill their cabinets with, and they're all porcelain-skinned blondes.
That is the Fox
Especially
News
true of
syndrome.
Donnie.
That's only since Fox News has been around. Fox News started that.
Okay. That's what I was going to ask you.
Yeah.
Is when did you see that start to happen?
Because before that, women.
Caroline Leavitt is like
Because before that, women
this.
weren't allowed to have
She's-
jobs in politics for the Republicans.
Oh, that's right.
Like, there were no
supposed to be
pretty ones
homemaking
because there were no ones.
babies.
Yeah.
Down. Yeah.
Yeah, there's only
You
when
can't
Fox
have a
News
job
realized,
and
oh
make
wait,
babies at the
we
same
can use
time.
pretty women to sell our poison, that they
Propaganda.
started using them. Yeah, so
they end up
yeah,
looking
before
like
that-
Jafar. All the operations that Megyn Kelly has had, if you put like just like a little wispy mustache, her face has just gotten like narrower and narrower. She looks like
Oh my
Jafar.
God.
Yeah, one of my favorite things is what they call the Mar-a-Lago face, and if you like find a website that shows all these pictures
Yes.
of women, what they
Oh,
look
yeah,
like
yeah.
pre-plastic surgery and what they look like now. And I mean, I don't judge people on their looks, but the fact that they're turning
Yeah.
themselves into Barbie dolls for him and making themselves
Well,
look less anything. It's scary.
So I've seen the Mar-a-Lago face stuff with the big lips and stuff. Megyn Kelly's transformation has been so different. It's not better. And she like has human look. Like she looks like a human still. But like look at pictures of her from probably like 2000-ish, and she was like She was
Christy
pretty with
Nome
the-
is the worst to me.
Except I saw an interview with her the other day, and I was like, "Oh, she looks human again." So maybe some of the stuff is that, like, temporary stuff.
Temporary
Like,
filler.
because I say sometimes, like, "Oh, that person's lips look weird," and then Sarah,
Yeah.
and then we see them again, and I'm like, "Oh, her lips don't look weird anymore." And Sarah's like, "It's filler is temporary." I'm like, "Oh, okay."
Okay, but
Shows what I know.
look at Laura, at
Oh,
good friend
right.
Laura Loomer, and you'll enjoy that one.
Yeah.
Oh, Loomer too. Yeah.
Ugh. I tried.
But I'm gonna say the
all
worst,
right.
the worst plastic surgery to me was
Thank
always
you,
Kenny
Elon,
Rogers.
for having.
Kenny Rogers is the worst plastic surgery to me of all time. Though, if you look at Kenny Rogers, he became an alien his later years. I don't know what the hell he did. So I'm not sexist about this. The guys that do it are just as bad.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sending this picture because she absolutely, to me, has the like same basic bone structure now as Jafar. Cartoon, not the remake. I'm sharing it in chat. But yeah, no, I do worry. I genuinely worry about, like, we're gonna get to a point where I am very worried that we're gonna get to a point where it will be incumbent on everyone to do things that are not only illegal but will have severe consequences. Like right now, I think you can operate morally and not break the law to some extent, but I think that is getting thinner and thinner, and eventually that will get
Yes.
And I think that we will get to a point where we morally cannot do that. Like if you are not breaking the law at a certain point, like, you mentioned, Matthew, like the people who harbored the Frank family. If you were in Nazi Germany or Nazi occupied, was that Belgium or whatever?
Amsterdam, I think they were.
They were Belgian, but that, yeah. If you were in any, and you were not doing something illegal, you were complicit. And I think, right now we can not break the law and not be complicit. But I do think that we're getting into we're getting narrower and narrower, especially as we talk about not having elections in a year, or at the end of this year, midterm elections. If we talk about
that would be the time to leave the country. If we don't have elections, then America's already dead and it's too late. Unless they either take up arms or leave the country.
Yeah.
Those are your two choices.
Agreed.
Right. Well, and that's probably where we
maybe not you guys because you're white with white wives, but
yeah.
But as a Jew with a brown wife.
I did hear. I was listening to a political thing today that is related. So they were doing a poll of people talking about whether or not they didn't use the word violence. It was more than peaceful protesting justified at this point. And they did a poll of Americans, and it was 1 in 4 say yes, which is a massive number. It's a massive number when you think about 1 in 4 Americans think that going above and beyond legal peaceful protest is necessary or justified at this point. When they talked about women 18 to 44, the number jumped up to 60 something, I think they said. And the women on the woman on the panel was like, well, yeah, because ICE is literally going around, not everybody from ICE, but lots of people from ICE are going around and sexually assaulting women. So like women are just seeing, like white women could be, everyone could be affected by this, right? Not just those people. And so like, that's why it was Fox News or one of those people that posted the thing, and these people were reacting to it. I think it was the Majority Report. And they were saying they're saying that this is the wine o'clock mom brigade trying to come in and talk shit. And it's like, but 18 to 44-year-old women are highly at risk, regardless of race or creed, especially when you have masked men running around with impunity. And so we are getting to a point where I don't know that even as white men with white families, we can feel safe. I mean, I feel personally safe, but Sarah and I have a child, and you know what I mean? Like this is pretty fucking terrible.
Yeah, I said my family carries copies of their passport and birth certificates and Madhavi's naturalization papers wherever they go out of the house. I mean, the girls have it in their purse. Joseph has it in the inside pocket.
Like,
of his
that's painful
jacket.
to listen to, Matthew. I'm serious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean,
Oh,
and the part that raises thing is like,
that-
why do they have why do they carry copies? Because they're afraid ICE would confiscate the original files and I wouldn't have a copy to go to court with because they would just throw away the original.
Yeah.
Like, we don't even want them
So
to
you wouldn't
get
have
their
it, yep.
hands on the original.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So we've already got our plans. You know, we know where we're going. We got, you know, general plans. We don't have a house picked out or anything, but you know, if things get bad, the general, we've worked with our financial advisor where we would move money so that we can access it, how much we need to access to move. So
Yeah.
and his wife is Asian, and he's like, yeah. And my mother was like, do you think I'm crazy? He's like, oh no, I'll model it on our plan. We have a plan. You know, I'll share what we were thinking.
But ultimately,
I like Belize personally because at Belize you don't they speak English, but I don't know.
I like New Zealand, and I'll explain why I like New Zealand.
I don't think
Australia.
they're not taking as many people though. It's hard to
Sure.
immigrate to New Zealand.
But New Zealand, if there's a nuclear war, which it's feeling like if Trump, yeah, it's feeling like when, you know, I've seen all this go down before, and it ended in a world war, but you know, we're on the wrong side of it. But you know, when this all goes down, like New Zealand is remote enough that you'll have less of the nuclear fallout. It's also like less important.
Is being a survivor a good thing though? I've seen a lot of those movies.
Sure. That's a good point.
That's why I used to like being in New York. It was like, it's nice living at ground zero. You don't have to worry about surviving it. You won't even know what happened. There's what coming? Whoosh.
Yep.
I could see Twin Towers from my house growing up. I was like, that's like a ground zero point.
Yeah. All right, Alex, stop sharing the Grok stuff. I'm a little worried clicking Grok links anyway that I'm going to get something that I don't want to see. That
I'm
is
enjoying
illegal
them.
and is not morally right.
Have you looked at any of
naked
them?
pictures of yourself.
I looked at a few.
Did you
The first
Did
one
you
was
see any of them?
Yeah, they were kind of funny. They were funny, but
sorry,
they're funny. But Grok is scary right now. You know.
Right? Yeah. I'm not allowed in Grok.
All right, so
Which
let's
was
start
the
wrapping
one
things
that-
up.
but let's be honest, it's
There
not the
was a-
only one that will let you do the bad stuff.
No, but there was a clip once where like
Yeah, but it'll let you do the
That's
really
some-
bad stuff,
so-
Alex. Have you heard about that?
no, not anymore. Now it's a paid feature though. They moved it to paid feature when they realized that.
Oh,
anyone
that
could
makes it
do
okay.
Now they're making
We don't
money
want
off
free
it.
Oh,
child
no.
porn.
They didn't get rid of it. They made it a premium feature. My favorite,
Jesus
I saw a clip
Christ.
that was a picture of Anne Hathaway, and it said, "Okay, Grok, do your stuff." And the response was, "Anne Hathaway is not actually Jewish. She was born in a Catholic family. Like, this is what do your stuff came up with. The fact that that's what Grok is looking at. Is she a Jew?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Lovely.
And also not necessarily like what I want Grok leading towards either when we're talking about.
That's it.
all
I mean,
right.
like, there's nothing
Yeah,
good coming
yeah.
from Grok.
No.
Anytime someone says something exactly,
Grok
you
is a
change
great
it.
Grok is another
Great.
great example of why
Okay,
I don't why you're right, Matthew. We shouldn't want to survive the nuclear holocaust. Anyway, so let's start wrapping things up. I just realized my computer's not plugged in. Oh shit.
Oh, none of this
Yeah,
has
no.
been recorded.
No. I just don't want my laptop to die.
Yeah. I don't know.
It's
I'm
recording.
using my new laptop, so I don't know how it dies. I should let it die to see. But my last one, my Lenovo,
with thunderous applause.
it's working fantastic.
No,
By the way,
my Lenovo would come up with a thing saying, you know, plug in soon. And before I could turn around to look to see if it's plugged in, it turns
Yeah.
off. Like it's
Yeah.
like the part, like it's starting to shut down. It puts up a warning. It's like there's not 1 minute out, like
yeah,
10 seconds before shutting down, it warns you it's running low on power.
Yeah. Damn.
7:32.
7:32. We've been going we've been in the episode for an hour. We've been going for an hour and a half.
Mhm.
hour and a
All
half,
right.
yeah.
So, Matthew, do you want to start things off?
I just want to say, listen, guys, buddies, come here. Did you see that? Did you see me doing that? That means you're watching a video. If you're watching a video, make sure you like the video. Maybe make sure you comment anything you want. Comment what crimes you commit. We'd love to hear it in the video with your name, address, and social security number.
Yeah.
subscribe to our channel, ring the notification bell so you know when we go live. Because, hey, we went live on a Wednesday this week. You never know. We're crazy. And that's all I'm going to ask, because it would be cold and crass to ask for money. Who would do such a thing?
Yeah, I'm that guy. I'm that
Ah.
guy because Matthew doesn't want him to be that guy because of cultural stereotypes. So instead, he makes me do it. If you want to give us,
I
money-
control the media.
well, you are the media in Chocolate Diamond Media, according to you.
It's true. It's true.
No, if you want to support us, you can go to talking about the. You can go to patreon.com/talking about the big stuff.
Got him all
and
confused.
there we
He doesn't
have
even know that it's
4
patreon.com/talking
options.
about the big stuff.
It's what? Patreon.com/talking about the big
Patreon.com/talking
stuff.
about the big stuff.
So if you go there, we have 4 options of things that you can do to get to support the show. There's the free option, which obviously just helps build our profile. That's similar to liking and subscribing, like Matthew mentioned. There's the $1 option, which gets you episodes early. The $3 option, which gets you a little bit of bonus sprinkled in. This week, it actually is probably going to be pretty good because we probably talked about some crimes that I'm going to cut out. And then the $10 version gets you.
So
this
if you're a federal agent, clip in $10 a month so you can.
I'm
hear about
not
our
confident.
crimes.
I'm not confident that they would do that after seeing what they did with Adobe and the redactions.
Yeah.
But if you want to see the full half-hour pre-show conversation we had, which we had some very lovely stories and some fun, we had some fun conversation there. That's the $10,
Mhm.
and that's per month, not per episode. All those numbers. So divide them by 4, and that's really what you're paying per episode, which is not bad. $1 a month split 4 ways. You're paying us $0.25 an episode. That is less than a cup of coffee. So is the $1 now. Showing my age. And then, while Matthew tells you gives us our last little punchline, I will just roll the credits on all of our patrons. But Matthew, you can go ahead and tell us your last thought while we go.
I just want to thank
Close us
everyone
out,
for
buddy.
sticking with us to talk about the big stuff, because leaving early would have been a crime.
Yeah.
Alex, anything to add to that?
I really think that
And cut.
now is the time for action, even if it means you're going to get a little dirty, get your hands dirty.
All right. I'm going
What?
to stop it now. I said and cut when you started talking because